Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. It's that time, it's tarot time with Cindy and Larry. Larry the pussycat is here on the table. He's sharing the table. You can't see him, but he is purring up a bit of a storm, so you might be able to hear him. So he's adding to the frequency of this reading, eh, Larry? So we're going to get started into this reading. Now, very interesting. I started with one of the fairy decks to just get a context here. Asking again and typing into Christ consciousness energy. And this is the card that came out. So this is just to give sort of like context of what this is going to be about. Divine wanting to speak to each of you. And I find this so fascinating and so relevant to what has literally been going on lately. It's the Believe in Magic card. Open your eyes and see the magic that's all around in nature. The fairy of the northern lights says you are part of nature, so you are magical too. It's just, as many of you know, there's been a lot of activity at the sun, a lot of solar flares, and the solar flares are what cause the northern lights, the aurora borealis. Shouldn't really just call it the northern lights because I believe it happens in the southern hemisphere as well, at the poles. And it's just kind of Earth's beautiful way in the first step of a many-step process to neutralize and transform the enormous amount of radioactive energy and electromagnetic energy, all that shit, all that powerful stuff that comes from the sun, particularly when there are things like solar flares going on. The Earth protects us, and isn't it interesting how the Earth does it in such a beautiful way with the northern lights? It has been a very intense period. I know a lot of people have felt that. I myself have felt that as well. I've had like a lot of increases in headaches and things like that also, and had to kind of like really look after myself during those times. But it kind of tells me that there's something that has come into that energy that is even bringing some elements of magic. The sun is literally what keeps us all alive in our solar system. You are part of this. Is there some type of magic that has been kind of coming into the earth here, some type of even consciousness or information? And you're part of this. You have this magic. It's really kind of telling me that there's maybe even some level of consciousness, deeper knowing that has been kind of like shooting through here. I know a lot of you have actually seen the increase in the northern lights. I did not. One of those people where if there's something amazing going on, I don't see it. I never do. And I know someone else, I mentioned that in another video, and someone said, oh, it's because you have magic around you all the time. I don't know, maybe. But anyways, so I feel like there's something really significant for the collective in terms of all of that solar flare activity. And are these signs? Look at this. The underlying card that we got were nature's signs, right? Right here, it is telling you that you are a part of nature, and you're a part of this planet. So you are also magical. Oh, and it's just kind of funny, right? Like, what are we looking at, Larry? What is it? What do you see? I don't see anything. Do you see magic? So here we are. We have nature. He came in from the beginning in this reading. Be receptive to the subtle messages from nature as you go about your day. Isn't that funny? She's looking down because the animals are directing her to look down. And what did Larry just do? He just did a movement that made me feel like he could see something. I don't know what he sees. But it's almost kind of like tune yourself in. Pay attention. I'm not just doing this for the sake of doing it. So nature's going to be very prevalent around you, or it maybe even has been, to help guide you and show you the signs and the synchronicities of what is going on. It might also form as messages, heads up, I want to say, like if you think about a lot of the indigenous cultures around our planet, and I'm just going to lean kind of more heavily into North America because I am here in Canada, and just having like a real sense of paying attention to what the weather's doing, paying attention to how the animals are reacting to weather, or just seeing how the animals are reacting, and that's often telling us about the approach of something as well. Nature calls to us continually, right? And remember, you are a part of this. We need only open our hearts and our minds to accept new information, to see what is coming in. As I was saying, I don't want to say like a warning system. I'm not really getting that vibe here, but definitely a heads up, like to pay attention, to give you an idea, an indication of what could be going on. Interesting. Bye, Larry. I'm reading a book right now, and it's an older woman in the book, and she's in her 90s. And the weatherman wasn't forecasting rain or any sort of change in the weather, but her old bones and joints could feel it, and it woke her up in the middle of the night, and she knew the following day was not going to be particularly nice. Even though with all of the scientific gizmos and, you know, I guess all the stuff that they use to predict the weatherman did not see that coming, but her body felt it. So it's really to be in tune with that part of yourself as well. Now, so that's just sort of like the context of what this is going to be about. I'm going into the Return of Spirit Oracle deck. Again, I'm also going into the Archangel deck. Now, I have had a couple comments about people asking about this Archangel deck. This is a deck created by Doreen Virtue. It is not available anymore. I got this deck about 6 years ago, probably got it right on the cusp of, you know, it not being available pretty soon. Like whatever stock was still out there, I managed to get a deck, did it at a time that I didn't realize the whole Doreen Virtue thing. But you can still get this deck, but it can be pretty expensive. Yeah, so anyways, let's just go back into, what came, we have 3 cards that came out here. We have Write, Take Flight, and Voice. That's very powerful. Now, was there something? I used this deck in last week's members live that I did, and there was something, actually it was interesting because I thought it came out at the very end. I did each zodiac, and then I did kind of the collective at the end, and they had something about writing. The power of there's the power of your voice here is really, really important. Now, it's talking about magic, right? Like that's the context here, that you are magical. So if you're magical, you can manifest and you can create things and allow things to develop around you based on your highest good and a sense of your own will. When I say a sense of your own will, like if half the time we're manifesting through the subconscious, and the subconscious is a sort of our deeper self and our soul that is not necessarily connecting on the level of the ego. It sees things beyond what we are perceiving right at the conscious level. Consciously, we are manifesting, and I really think that we can become truly powerful manifestors when the subconscious and the conscious come into alignment here, which I do feel is kind of part of the discussion in this reading for you. Once our conscious and our subconscious come into alignment, it is kind of like our ego self and our higher self being able to communicate and create what we know is our true path and create the steps forward in that. So writing is powerful energy here that's come out. It's helping you to take flight. It could even be writing about maybe in some way that you have freed yourself from something. This could be voicing. This could be some of you like calling you forward, like a calling. I feel like there's a calling here and to talk about something. It could be talking about something that you have actually already put to pen in some way. I want to sit on the right card is very obvious. Now, it could be journaling. It could be writing a letter to someone. It could be some type of poetry. It could be putting lines down. But taking flight here, to take flight with this, let's look at that. The Take Flight card. It's time to come out of seclusion. You no longer need to hide or try to protect yourself from the world around you. You are moving into a new stage of your life where stepping out is important for your emotional, mental, and spiritual growth. It's time to start making new friends and social connections. You may find yourself being drawn to join groups, take classes, or engage in social activities. Just as the butterfly is drawn to a flower's nectar, you will find that getting out into the world and being with others will be a source of soul food for you. Through these interactions with people and groups, you will start to feel more confident in yourself. You will see and feel yourself blossoming in a very natural and comfortable way. The energy of the butterfly is gentle, joyful, and purposeful. You will directly experience this energy and exude it as you move out into your social surroundings. Not only is this an important part of developing self-esteem and a sense of belonging, it is a vital piece in your discovery of your gifts and special talents. Your soul is ready to shine its light. It is only your human mind that feels it is not ready. Interesting that we should say that would say, I'm just going to stop there for a second, because I was just talking about how we manifest, mostly through the subconscious with the higher self, and then to some degree consciously with the ego sense of self. Be brave and let yourself out of the cocoon of protection you have created. You cannot fight your destiny. You can only fight yourself. It's time to take flight. You know how the universe works. Like it or not, if there is something we are meant to be doing, we will eventually find ourselves doing it, no matter how much we resist it. Well, this is very interesting. So take a deep breath and take just one step forward to what brings you joy. The rest will take care of itself. Okay, it's interesting that card should literally sit between right and voice. This is almost like having a plan, and then this is like actuating, making the plan happen. One thing to write something and maybe even keep it quiet and keep it to ourselves. It's quite another thing to be vocal about it. Also, talking about manifesting seems to be a bit of the theme. So far, I want to say this week, it's only Tuesday. Manifesting what you write, your voice. I feel like some of you are meant to be heard where you've been quiet. I don't necessarily feel like, though, that is saying that it is like making changes and vocalizing how you feel you are maybe not heard, or I feel like it's allowing yourself to be heard. It's really connected to the social aspect here. It might be very important based on kind of the energies that have been coming forward in my readings lately. Birds of a feather flocking together, finding one another. I feel like a lot of you have find sort of birds of that feather like through social media as well, but it's taking it beyond that and is actually recognizing that there are birds of a feather closer to you where you can actually start connecting and elevating one another. Let your voice be heard. You are a beautiful and wise being of the divine, made to bring forth your individual truth and expression. No more holding back, no more staying small. You are being called now to use the gift of your words and the power of your voice. What you have to say is important. What you have to share is needed. You could be finding yourself being asked to step out in front of groups to talk, or you may be finding that situations keep coming up where you are being given an opportunity to be vocal about what you think, believe, or feel. For many of us, this does not come easily. Often we have had past experiences which discourage us from expressing ourselves openly. It is time to begin to heal those old understandings and allow yourself to be seen and heard. Each of us has a unique expression. Whether you are being asked to sing, chant, pray, speak, or teach, it is your voice that needs to be heard. This can also be related to simply stating what is true for you in your relationships. It could involve stating your point of view, needs, or desires, regardless of how different they may be. Now, that also feels like connecting to yesterday. There is a message really coming out into the collective to embrace who you are, regardless of how different that may be or how you may perceive others to think how different you are. This is important because if there are 100 people in your community and there are 2 people just like you, but they're feeling kind of pulled back and shy in whatever their belief is and however they function, maybe they're quite empathic and they have closed off to the world. It is kind of almost like signaling out there to others that here I am, this is who I am, and being able to draw strength in that together. I'm kind of seeing a moth a moth in my mind's eye here. And if you can think, there are probably thousands of species of moth. And I can see one species of moth in particular, and I don't know why this one, but it is the Indian meal moth. It is a moth that is quite prevalent in the food industry. It gets into dry goods. The caterpillar stage does. But each moth has its own pheromone. Has a very specific pheromone signature, and the female will release that pheromone. It does not attract other moths. There are no other moths. And this female Indian meal moth could be maybe in a building or even outside somewhere. And there are 99% of another type of moth species around that female moth. Now I'm saying this because, and I'm not trying to be sexist, but in the insect world in particular, the female releases the pheromone, and the males have very large antennae that are specifically designed to find the pheromone. So as I'm talking about that, I feel like this is releasing even your magic. This is releasing your magic in what unique way that is to you. And maybe it's been amplified. Okay. I'm kind of feeling like this magic has been amplified for all of us through these solar flares that we've been experiencing. And this is to intensify your magic, make the signature of your magic stronger. And maybe this comes through in how you were voicing yourself or how you were speaking. It's kind of like that is the release of your pheromone. And the others who are receptive in receiving this, their antennae are designed to receive exactly what you were putting out there or what you were meant to put out or how you were meant to express yourself. It's time to remember who you are. You are a spark of God. Stand up for yourself. Stand tall in what you believe. Speak from your heart and your words will always be heard. Your voice is a gift and it is meant to be shared. You are about to empower yourself in a way that you have not experienced before. You will notice that by taking this step of being vocal, you fall more into alignment of what you are really here to do. Wow, that's interesting. So I'm getting I had a conversation this morning with my neighbor across the street. She's the sweetest lady. I love her to death. And I tell her often how grateful I am that she is my neighbor. The other people around are friendly, but there's something about her, like, I want to say we're kind of like bosom buddies, two peas from a pod. She's very empathic. Actually, she has no idea what I do. It's kind of like that about this neighborhood. No one has ever asked me what it is that I do. I'm sure they assume that I'm obviously working from home, but it's not. It's interesting because I have worked in an industry where I was kind of looked down on, and I was seen as someone who, I don't know, just did dirty work and was kind of maybe a grunt, I guess it could be described as. And so if people asked me what I did, I was often met with sort of like, oh, and they didn't want to talk to me anymore. And I thought, like, that's not who I am. And then I have the opposite side of the spectrum with this, being on social media and having, a relatively large subscription base and being able to talk to people as I am right now. And people almost becoming like star-gazed by it. And I'm thinking, but again, why, it could be the same person who met me 25 years ago doing grunt work. Oh, but now it's interesting to see who I am. So I just going where I really like that nobody has ever asked me what I do, because people just want to know me as a human being. And I really appreciate that, because that's what I am. I'm not really the person that is defined by what I do, because what I do could change at any time. Anyways, having a conversation with my neighbor across the street, and we were talking about another couple, an older couple that I've noticed, and saying, like, they seem like a really sweet couple, and she said they are so sweet, and apparently they foster babies, they foster children. They must be in their 60s themselves or even older, I don't know. And he was a counselor of some type, and she says, God, I feel like they do like so much good in the world compared to myself. And I looked at her and I said, you have no idea like how much joy you bring and happiness to my life, because you are across the street. Like, just being you brings, I want to say, like, happiness to those that are open to receiving it, to those that really recognize the value in that. And she had like a big happy smile, which was nice to bring that. But I want to kind of say that, you know, because you can be in a situation where you feel like there's other people around me doing much more profound, bigger aspects in terms of how they're helping the world. Sometimes it's just being that kind soul across the street. You know, because, yeah, it means a lot to me, particularly coming from a neighborhood where people had a lot of, anyways, the car that they drove was the important aspect of who they were. Wow, worthy. That's beautiful. Oh my God, guys, this is such a beautiful energy. Let's just read it. Worthy is absolutely beautiful. I can't believe that's the bottom, because that is literally, like, it's almost like I tapped into what this is going to talk about for you. It's like my neighbor across the street. Like, please don't doubt yourself. Please don't diminish who you are, because it has a huge impact on my life. And right, if she can have an impact on my life, I want to say it even bleeds through to how I can impact you guys as well, and then impact my own family and friends around me. There's a real sense right now. I don't know. I'm sort of, it's almost like in the last couple of weeks, it was kind of, I know someone asked me about the November 1st reading. I don't quite remember it. Often with my readings, I don't really remember the details. I have to go back. I just kind of channel it, and then that's over, which is what I'm doing right now. But sometimes I will be guided into those readings again as a reminder or an indication of a lesson to bring it forward again. But I feel like it's almost like spirit with like that heads up, right? Interesting, because that's what this feels like. And that's the underline. It's the heads up that nature has been giving us, the signs that we've been receiving. We may have even also experienced the impact of the solar flares to sort of elevate and bring up our own abilities for magic here. And we're really being guided to not shy away from what that power is. It's almost feeling like bringing up the resonance perhaps before frequency, there's an attempt to lower frequency. It's to bring up our frequencies now. It's almost like a love shield, maybe, I don't know, but worthy. You are one of the loving spirits who has come to be in service to humanity this lifetime. This strong desire and need to give to your fellow man is embedded deep within your soul's blueprint. You play an important role in the cosmic plan. This card has come to you today as Spirit's way of giving you a much needed reminder that you hold great worth and value. You can no longer question whether you are worthy or if you have value in this world. We all look to our physical world for confirmation. We question whether we are good enough, wanted, and needed. We want the world to tell us that we are doing well and that it wants what we have to offer. I want to stop there too. So if you've been getting sort of like a feedback mechanism, but more from like the human point of view, from humanity, remember, you're part of nature. And it's almost like it's saying that nature is telling you that you are needed. Something much more deeper, and that is not being blocked by a sense of a false or unhealthy or negative ego, which is a lot of what, many people, I guess, encounter in the day-to-day. But your value and worth cannot come from anyone or anything outside of you. Just as you are right now in this moment, you are enough. It is time for you to begin to understand your own worth and value. Spirit is asking that you start now to understand just how important you are. Begin by asking yourself, how much would you value someone who was as kind as you are to others? It's just like my neighbor. If you met a person whose inner heart was as caring and loving as yours, would you value them in your life? I kind of feel like I met the reflection of myself. Well, to some degree. I don't know. I don't know. Actually, she's more social than I am, to be honest. So she's kind of pulled me out of my shell a little bit. You need to see yourself. See just how valuable you really are. Your worth does not come from what you do or how you behave. Your worth comes from the fact that you are part of the God source. Once you fully realize this, you will play an invaluable role in helping others to discover their own worth too. I love that. That's such a beautiful energy. Wow. One of the neighbors put a very demonic thing in their window for Halloween. It's kind of creepy. But anyways, okay. What is the angelic energy, the archangel energy supporting? I want to say supporting you and taking flight and being the voice in your life, being that voice in your life. I'm also seeing an instance here where someone is being kind of like bullied. Someone is being bullied. And they're being bullied by somebody who has who appears to have more authority in some way. And it's almost like everyone in the group feels really uncomfortable about what is going on. But nobody is saying anything. And you don't have to say something that directly attacks the bully. It's saying something that elevates the bullied. Saying something that elevates the bullied. And then it makes everyone else feel safe knowing that they can support one another, which then that in itself disempowers the bully. Yeah, so this energy is interesting because if some of you are going through some type of situation like that where somebody's authority is unfair, it may be even a group or a community, it's not speaking towards the bully. It's actually supporting the bullied. I want to say also it's recognized, right? And that could even create an environment or an atmosphere where then everyone becomes defensive and aggressive towards one another. It's sort of being the first person to put a hand out to that who is feeling the most bullied. It is funny too, because it's like the butterfly effect. Or it's like a drop in the ocean. It creates a ripple. And not everyone may move in that direction immediately. But it starts to become like a feeling that those that are closest to your energy recognize quickly. And they move in with this with you. And then over time, right? And then it's like over time, that is the energy becomes more prevalent. It strengthens, your magic strengthens, the energy of that strengthens, and more people come in. So also, that's interesting. It's reminding me of, I can't remember what it's called. It's a gentleman in the UK who was wrongly prosecuted and imprisoned for a murder he didn't commit. And so anyways, he was released, but he's made this program. I haven't watched it in a long time. It was getting pretty hard to watch, actually. And he was taking the viewer into different prisons throughout the world. And there was one in, I think it was in, was it South America? It was a horrible prison. And there was a new head of the prison who came in. And what was fascinating was many of the prison guards at that prison, like it was known for just like beating, I think maybe even killing prisoners. It was horrible. All of those guards are still there, and the prison is a completely different environment. Like it is completely different. But when they asked the new, I don't remember what the term is for someone who's now running the prison, asked her what did she do and why did she decide to keep the prison guards there? And she said it was because she recognized that the guards were not being supported and were not being cared for. And because of that, they were taking it out on the prisoners. And so, at first glance, it might seem like, why are you rewarding the people that are so cruel? And it's like, they're not the one, they were being treated cruelly, so they passed that down. So she completely changed the system from the top. And then when the guards felt supported and cared for, they were re-educated in different ways. They were taught anyways, I won't get into the details, but that trickled down. And I mean, it just seemed fascinating, and it does seem fascinating to think that you can now have a system where those that were once hurting others, they all get along and they all respect each other. It's crazy fascinating. But that's kind of like the vibe that is coming through in this. So who is the archangel energy that is supporting? the collective in taking flight and using their voice? Who's the archangel supporting the collective in taking flight and using their voice? Whoa, Archangel Jeremiah, a life review here. Take inventory of your life and resolve to change or heal anything that is unbalanced. Well, maybe for some of you, this is very specific, and you might have a plan written down in your life, or there might be things that you specifically, this could even be someone who has written, you could have even written your biography or something like that. And it is really time to, whoa, my third eye is like, it's spasming. That's so cool. That's only ever happened one other time in another reading. It's time to really look at your life and be the element of change. What's not in balance here? What doesn't feel right? And maybe it's time to say, I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm not going to be here anymore for some of you. But I also feel like it is being the one that supports, I don't know, someone else who might be vulnerable in a situation. Resolve to change. Look at your life and what needs to change here. Kind of getting that Man in the Mirror song again from Michael Jackson. Gonna make a change from what's in my life. You are safe. Hello from heaven. How beautiful is that? Archangel Michael, I am protecting you against lower energies and guarding you, your loved ones, in your home. That's an underline that comes in with nature's talking to you and you are worthy. And then hello from heaven. Didn't y'all get from hello from heaven yesterday? I can't remember if that was in the extended or on the YouTube part. But you all got hello from heaven yesterday. Archangel Azrael, your loved ones in heaven are doing fine. Let go of your worries and feel their loving blessings. Larry, are you coming in from heaven there, Larry? Yeah, you're white like a cloud. Okay, one last card, Energy Oracle deck card. Larry, you're sitting on the angel. Everybody, Larry, everybody. It's raining today, so he's a little bit perturbed. I don't like that. I can't change the weather, boober. Huh? I'm going to lay down on there. Okay, you lay down on those cards. Oh, that's such a handsome boy. Wouldn't it be nice if people had purr mechanisms and tails? We couldn't hide how we felt. Like, I feel so content right now. I'm wagging my tail because I'm happy to see you. Okay. What is the Energy Oracle deck? The energy of this for the collective. Ooh, oh my God, community. Guys, it's really time to get out there and connect. As I have on here, connecting with like-minded people. Networking, a community. Networking and community are important. I really feel like there's kind of like a call to action here for the collective right now to really recognize who you are, accept it, empower yourself through that energy, and start like almost like putting your magic pheromone out into, I don't want to say the cosmos because it's very, very 3D based, like how you're meant to use this. How you're meant to use this is to connect. Connect with those that you're meant to build with. They will find you if you put your pheromone out there. If you speak your truth, even if it seems like it's really odd or strange to others. I've been trying to do that as an example on the channel this week. And there's a few things that I thought, well, this is a little bit weird, but I'm going to say it anyways. And then, you know, it kind of makes me feel good to feel through some of the comments that other people have thought, I feel the same way, or I've been going through the same thing, and it's just so nice to have this validated, and now I feel more comfortable with it, right? I feel like that's what the point of all of this really is right now. Oh, well, this underline is something else. Well, the whole thing is upright. Okay, patience and deceit. letting go of desperation, releasing. It's almost like a lie about patience. Someone here is not patient. There could be something that's been going on around some of you too, where somebody has had some sort of hidden tactics or manipulation. If this is anything that you yourself have even felt pulled into, you know, like that bully scenario that I gave. I mean, if it's a work environment, let's say it's the boss, or it's somebody in some level of leadership or status, it's right. How can you start to change it? How can you, without being a target of the bully, right? It's almost like the bully's not there, but it's just go to the bullied. And for maybe some of you, you're the one who feels bullied here. Then I really want to say it's time to really start speaking out for yourself, or start speaking of who you are. And it might not be in that environment. It's getting the right environment there. Larry's pouring up a storm. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to the extended, but before I go there, what we're going to do is we're going to shuffle on here. I'm just going to see what the context of the extended is going to be through the same fairy deck that gave me the context here. You're part of nature. You're being empowered through magic, through the northern lights. What is going to be the context of the extended for the collective, for anyone who would like to go over there with us? Oh, interesting. Stargazing. When you gaze at the stars, you give yourself fairy focus. Your intuition will flow more freely and reveal what you need to know about your situation. Oh, that's interesting. I feel like, so we're going to kind of investigate the way here, how to strengthen your intuition, and maybe how to help you navigate or come to some sort of decision that I'm kind of getting a Two of Swords. I'm seeing the Two of Swords here. So is it your intellect or is it your intuition that you trust here? So we'll see where stargazing takes us in the extended. Thank you so much, everyone. Until the next time, be gentle with yourselves. Bye.